Hello, dear friends, students, mentors, teachers. A very warm welcome to the session number 8 of India AI Tinkerpreneur 2025. Hope all of you have traversed this much journey of getting your AI skills better. We had the 6 dedicated sessions on AI skilling, where you learned several skills, several AI tools to build your product, which can help you building your product or at least think about what you can build. And then we had on Monday a very special product masterclass by the Tinker Champs, who have showed how they have built their product while they were attempting Tinkerpreneur of the previous years. Now we are moving towards entrepreneurship skilling. This is very important in your journey. While you may have thought about what you are building in this year Tinkerpreneur, which product you are building, which kind of tools you are using, now, from here onwards to the 15th of July, while we'll be having our entrepreneurship cycle underway, we have 4 to 5 specialized curated sessions for you on business modeling, branding, marketing, finance, digital marketing, pitching, etc., which will help you in make your pitch better, make your case better, make your product better, and give you the whole scenario of a kind of a pseudo startup you can build upon. So here we are on our session number 8 with a very special guest, Mr. Surut G. Ujni. Welcome, Surut, to this very special session. We have a good news for you as well, which you are soon gonna get into your email inbox as well, that you have been selected as the regional mentor of change for Atal Innovation Mission as well. So congratulations, Surut, on that achievement. And yeah, today itself you are with us for this very special session as well. So without further ado, I'll pass on to Mr. Surut. Surut will explain you very important things about business modeling, the business model canvas, value propositions. Folks, this is very important session. Don't take it lightly because this will build on to what you are gonna build, what kind of propositions you can have, what is your USP of your product. So a very, very important session in building that linkage towards product to entrepreneurship. So stay attuned with us for the next 40 odd minutes while Surut will be explaining you these terminologies with some case examples. And at the end, we will have a Q&A for 5 10 minutes. So you can put it on the chat box, your queries, any question, any feedback for Surut, and we can connect after 40 45 odd minutes when Surut's session will be completed. So Surut, over to you from here on.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Shubham. So thanks for the good news as well, and happy to be here with the great upcoming minds and I would say futurepreneurs of India. So it's really happy to be here and able to present to you about one of the most important concepts of doing business. That is the business modeling or the business model canvas as we call it. So I'll get right to it. So I'll not take a lot of time at the background. So let's right get into the presentation. And through the presentation, I'll take everybody to understand the basics of business and take on questions from there onwards. Any questions you have, you can make a note of it. And at the end of it, please put it in the chat box. Because when you put the questions in the chat box earlier, we might miss it out because I'll be busy presenting here. You're busy putting the questions in the chat box. So with that, Shubham, I'll just share my screen. Please confirm once it's visible to everybody.
It is yet to pop up.
Okay.
Yes, it is up.
Awesome. Right, guys. So I think here we go. So understanding business model. So your first step towards knowing that, hey, I have an idea, but then from here, can I actually convert this into a business that is going to help me make some money out of it, right? So that is what we will be discussing for the next 30 to 45 minutes and explore what are the different aspects involved in creating your business. So we'll discuss about the most important concept, that is the business model canvas, the different parts of the business model canvas, and why you should be doing all of this anyways. So I always believe that if you're learning from somebody, you should know what is the kind of experience and what is the kind of expertise that they bring to you. So this is a little bit about me. So I'm Suhrud Ujani. I'm the founder of Startup Tumkuru. I have worked with different governments. I've worked with different uh, ecosystems. I've traveled across India, understood business models. So you give me any kind of business, starting from a chaiwala to your diamond ore businesses or startups of different calibers. I'll be able to help you build those business models, and that's why I am here to help you build the basics or understand the basics of business modeling today. So we can go further from here. So I think the first thing that you understand or you need to think about when you're trying to do a business model is, why am I doing this particular business, right? So a lot of them think that you get an idea and you do business over it, right? But more than your idea, I would say first thing you need to do is find a problem that you want to solve, right? So what is the kind of problem that not only you but at least 1,000 others are facing? So the problem should be big enough for solving and making money out of it. Because if you're solving a problem that only you or your family members or maybe 10 people have, that will not have the potential to scale up. Because the first thing about startup is that it needs to be able to scale it up, right? So you need to expand it in multiple folds. So that is why a startup should be found out. So you identify such a problem that exists and validate it, and then you can look at how do you convert it into a business model, right? And also, whenever you're trying to create a problem, one thing you have to keep in mind is there are different things a problem comes in, right? Like many people tend to explain their problem in a paragraph or in a page, or they try to make a story behind it and then try to come to the problem. But I would say the first thing, the problem should be a one liner. Of course, there will be a background to it, but then you need to be very crisp and say, hey, look, this is a problem that I'm trying to solve. Like, for example, later in the slides, I'll be talking about Uber, right? So, how Uber came into being. So, what was Uber trying to solve? In a one crisp sentence, Uber was trying to solve what is called as mobility problem, traveling from point A to point B and getting a cab at ease. So, this is what Uber was trying to solve, right? And also, whenever you're trying to make a business model, it is very important to include a lot of infographics. Remember that one picture can talk 1,000 words. So that is, you can just put one picture and it can convey a lot of meaning instead of you writing pages together, right? And the first place to find ideas or the problems which have already been identified as existing problems, and you can take inspiration from these places. One of the best options is the Startup India Idea Bank. So all of you have public domain access, so it's available for you there. So please go to Startup India Idea Bank or just Google out, ask ChatGPT, whatever works for you. You will know the kind of problems that are out there. In fact, every department from the government of India and beyond puts out their challenges there in the idea bank and helps you to select a business that you would like to work on. And another thing from my side that I've done is, so Startup Tumkuru also gives you growth opportunities. So you can look at our platform also on a monthly basis. Every month, what are the kind of growth opportunities available for researchers, innovators, and children like you? So we put it up across on our page, so you can have a look at that for drawing inspiration of your ideas. And once you know, okay, what is it that I'm going to do? So you might want to build an electrical vehicle, or you might want to build a digital platform like Amazon or something like a Blinkit. So whatever that you want to do, once you say, okay, this is what I want to do, the next thing is building the business model, right? So this is to ensure that risk mitigation happens. So just to brief you a little bit about what is risk mitigation, whenever you try to do business, right? So we are in 2025. So if I was doing this session somewhere in 90s, I would say, hey, first start the business, then there will be a lot of problems that come, solve it along the way. But no, we are in 2025, right? So in 2025, we can predict a lot of things using different tools, especially the AI tools that all of you have been learning. There is something called as predictive analysis that we do. So using all of these things, we try to roadmap our business, right? So I will say in the next 3 months, this will happen, or I want to do this. 3 to 6 months, I want to do something. And 6 months and above, I want to do something, right? So there needs to be a roadmap put to it, so that from wherever you are, that is point A, you're reaching to another point B using your roadmap. So this particular map that you use is called the business model. And this business model will convey a lot of message and make it more clear, firstly, for you who would want to become an entrepreneur, and then also to the clients or the investors who you speak to, so that they will be able to understand you much better. So what all are the messages that a business model will convey? The first thing is who will buy it, right? So if you're trying to build a service or a product, who is going to buy the product and why will they buy it? And also added question to this is why should they be buying it from you? Again, so today is 2025. So in 2025, the competition is very much more, right? So you do something, your neighbor will also end up doing it. That's competition because it's a working model. So why should somebody buy something from you exclusively? So we call something as a unique selling proposition or a USP. So why should somebody come to buy something from you only? What is it that makes you special or your product special? So all of that needs to be covered in a business model. And once you know the who and why part of it, we move on to the next part of it. That is, how will you deliver it to them? So will they come through online platforms or will they search through physical means? How are customers coming to you? What kind of marketing approach are you going to do? Is it offline? Is it online? Or is it a hybrid method? So that is the how part of it as to how the customers try to reach out to you, right? So this is a very crucial juncture as to how the customers will reach you, because there's something there are some difficult terminologies, maybe we don't want to get into it, but still a basic terminology is customer acquisition cost, right? Like for example, if you're selling something at 10 rupees, out of that 10 rupees, to get somebody to know that you are selling it, what is the cost that you have to spend? That might be your marketing budget, right? So we'll talk these about these things as we move on in the presentation. And next thing is, okay, I did all of these things, so I know who will buy it, why will they buy it, and I know how I'm going to give it to them as well. But then the most important thing is, how will I earn my money? Because you're doing this to earn some money out of it as a startup, right? So how do you earn money? So what is the kind of models that will be there? Is it going to be a freemium model? Is it going to be a subscription based model, or is it going to be a one time model? So these kind of things also pop it. So revenue streams and cost structures, this also we will discuss as we move on in today's presentation. And typically, this is how a business model canvas will look like. So there are 9 segments that are there. So you start with customer segments and move on one after the other. So in today's discussion, we will discuss about each one of it separately. I'll explain it in a brief slot about each of these 9 different streams in the order in which you have to fill them out as well. And if you can just Google out or ask ChatGPT to give a template for the business model canvas, you will find this online. It is a universal template, so there will be no change in this, right? Like you either you do it here in Karnataka or anywhere else in India or anywhere else in the globe, this particular format will remain the same. So you can build your own business model canvases. About business model customer segment, right? So the who part of it, like for example, who is going to buy your product, right? So what kind of customers, what will be the age of the customer, what will be the revenue generation capacity of the customer, what is their income capacities? So like this, there'll be different segmentations that we need to do for customers. Let me take an example. How to create this platform, right? So AI images, who uses AI images the most? So usually students, right? So that means your customer segment will be of the age group anywhere between 13 years to maybe let's say 40, 45, 50. So that is the age group, right? So in this age group, what kind of images and who will prefer what kind of images? Like for example, when you're looking at the age group of schools, accordingly ensure that your AI platform gives. It is called value proposition. So that you figure it out, right? And next is what is the customer's buying capacity? Because as I told you, you also have to always think about how we are going to make money out of it, right? So there are things like customer profiling that we do. So customer profile or customer segmentation is nothing but what is the purchasing capacity of a person? Like let's say, for example, whenever you start a business and you're looking at customer to 5. So working professional spending capacity is anywhere between, let's say, if I take a fresher who has just started, right? So anywhere they would be earning a salary anywhere between 20,000 to maybe a lakh, right? So that will be a spending capacity of a fresher who has just graduated, started earning, or they have just started a startup. Like one of you might start in the future, so they have started just earning, so their spending capacity will be between 20,000 to 1 lakh rupees. So you build your product according to them, right? That is customer segmentation. So once you do this, then you go and explore the next part of it. So I hope customer segmentation, the basics of it is understood. Of course, I'm open for questions at the end of the cycle, but let's move forward. Once you understand what kind of customers might want to buy the service or a product that you're making, the next thing is the value proposition, right? So the how or the why part of it. So why should they be coming to you, right? So that value proposition is very important. For example, here I've quoted Spotify's value proposition, right? Spotify said, hey, let's provide music for everyone. So that's a clear value proposition that Spotify is giving, saying that you be anybody, you can use our music free of cost. And then there's an add-on method. If you want better quality, if you want ads free, if you want to have shuffle options, you have to pay for it, right? So there is a value proposition that defines what is the business offering to the general public. So that is the primary driver of business operations, right? So that is how value proposition determines the fundamental offering of various companies. So you also need to understand what is it that exactly your company trying to give it to the customers. So as I said, so we have taken the example of AI, generating AI business, generating AI images. So you would be that person who would be able to. Okay, so seems like there's some audio error from my side. Let me just rectify that.
Yeah, Surup, this is fine now, I guess. Now your video is also clear,
Okay,
and yeah, much improved. Yes.
right, right. So
Mhm.
I think there was some network issues, no
Yeah,
network issues. It's better now, is it?
yeah, much better. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Right. So let's get back into what we're trying to understand, the value propositions. So the value propositions is the next thing. So, right, what is it that your company is trying to give it to the customer? So what kind of problem is your company trying to solve? And how differently does it satisfies the demand of your customer segment? So like for example, let's say again, so as would like to keep reminding you guys are in 2025, our era is of innovations. We are not in an era of inventions, right? What is the difference between inventions and innovations? That is something that you need to very much get imbibed into yourself, right? So invention was when a light bulb was found, right? So that was an invention. Whereas today we are in an age of innovation. That is, this light bulb which was founded has become a LED light bulb, right? So that is an innovation. We are trying to improvise on the already existing services or products, right? Believe me, I hear about new technologies coming up on a regular basis, and 90% of them are an innovation. Invention happens very rarely in today's age, but innovation happens on a regular basis. Incremental innovation is something that you need to look at. And what is the innovation that is happening? Like, for example, you might say, I'm able to provide a better quality product at a lesser price money. So that is something that you could be doing as an innovation, or you say, hey, I have a better design that can help people, or maybe my product is at a better stature than the other products, right? Like for example, take the case of iPhones. There is a new model of iPhone coming every 6 months to 1 year, right? So that becomes a status quo that, hey, look, this is a product that I will change every 6 months. That means that your business gets revenue every 6 months because of the branding that you have done, right? So that's a new model that comes up. Business or as a startup, right? Moving on. So what we did was you did a customer segmentation. You understood that what kind of people you want to reach out to, and then you also found out what kind of, yeah. So you also found out what kind of value proposition that you will be providing to the different people who come to know about your business. But then now the question is, how are people going to come to know about my business, right? Like I am somewhere in a nook and corner of the world. The world is so big. How are people going to come to know that I am trying to do something here, right? So you need to announce this to the public, right? You need to announce this to the different people saying, hey, look, I have started something on my own. You can get some value when you come and discuss with me, right? So the most common method of doing this, there are two things that everybody does or everybody can do. So very broadly putting up, there are two things, right? So one, there is an online method, and then secondly, there's an offline method. Like Shubham was also mentioning about the marketing aspect of it, right? So there are different ways. Of course, we will be teaching about this in much details, but it will be predominantly covered in your business model canvas as well. So when you look at the online model, what are the most common online models followed today? So it's going to be social media. So one of the most accepted online marketing channels is social media. It could be your Facebook, it could be your Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or any other social media handles that you use. Differs from country to country as well. So social media is one of the best marketing tools today. That is why there is a separate segment on social media marketing that will be thought for you guys as well. And of course, the core part of your digital transformation or digital promotions will be your own websites. I'm sure all of you will be building your own websites, putting AI agentic models into it, and ensuring customers are able to come into your websites, have good traffic on your websites. And another mode, TV is a hybrid mode, I would say, because it would work both online and offline depending on the kind of television that you have. So another mode is the TV, right? So these are some places where you can market your product. So how are you going to plan to market your product? So all of this needs to come into your business model under the channels aspect of it. And offline, of course, you have the three regular media. So that is the print media. Flyers sometimes can be considered as a part of the print media or otherwise. So when I say print media, I am considering the newspapers here predominantly. So you provide newspaper ads and ensure that people are able to read about you through the print media. And then there are insertions that we use inside the newspaper. So that is another mode. And of course, there are hoardings across the city or country that you can put. As you travel, usually in the highways, you see a lot of hoardings, advertisements about the businesses. So that is another mean. So you need to think about what would be the best thing for you, right? So like for example, again, customer segmentation plays a very important role while you're thinking about the channel of marketing as well. Because if you're doing a customer segmentation and you're saying, hey, look, kids are the ones who will be the major consumers for my product, in that case you need to ensure that you have your presence in social media, because today's kids, most of them are there unfortunately on social media as well, because all of you are using social media, right? So how do you deliver value proposition through your channels? That is something that you need to think about. And are you reaching your exact customer segmentation? And what kind of channels are you using? Of course, today, thanks to the digital market, that you can actually target the customers, right? Like in the coming up classes, you will actually learn about how you can target customers using Meta's business applications, what kind of age groups, what kind of geographies. There are opportunities where you can actually target a certain niche, right? Like let's say, for example, you have your business in, let's say, central India, Madhya Pradesh, for example. So you say, I want to offer my product only in Madhya Pradesh to begin with. So you can actually use digital media to promote your product only in Madhya Pradesh, and the ad will be shown only for people in Madhya Pradesh. And you also say that in Madhya Pradesh, I only want people in the age group of 13 years to 20 years to view the ad. So that can be actually made to show only for that age group of 13 to 20 years, right? So like this, different channels can be used and ensure that you are getting visibility for your business. This is one of the most crucial things, to get visibility for your business using the different channels. So that needs to be planned over here. Okay, right. So you were able to understand how to, bring out the various channels and use it. And you started getting clients, right? So you have one paid client, you have 10 free clients. Free clients are now slowly converting into paid clients. So how do you maintain a relationship with these clients? For two things, right? One, they're satisfied and they become your long time clients, or they become your repeat clients, as we call them, or they become your brand ambassadors. Every customer who comes to you could actually become your brand ambassador. That is, they go back and say, hey, look, I used this particular company's product, I think I was very satisfied with it, maybe you could also get some benefits out of it, why don't you try them out? This is called word of mouth publicity, and this is the best kind of publicity that is available out there, right? Forget social media, forget print media, the best of the things is word of mouth publicity. So that depends on how you maintain a relationship with your customer, how much empathy you show to your customers, how loyal you can have your customers, and why would the customers want to come back to you, right? So while you're dealing with customer relationships, or you're trying to figure it out during your business model canvas, here are a few things that you need to consider, right? The first thing would be, what type of relationship does your company have with its customers? Like, for example, is there a one-on-one approach? Like, can they pick up the phone and call and speak to somebody? Is there a customer dedicated line that you could offer, or is that offered through support channels like a chatbot on your platform, or do they have to email you? And how soon can you solve this, right? So that is also something that needs to be thought about. And how do you engage with different people in the business? Like, for example, when you're doing customer segmentation, which I told you previously, right? So the first part was maybe to have the first clientele of 13 to 18 years. That is the first clientele. But then you also have customers in the group of 19 to 25 years. So how are you going to deal with 13 to 20 years or 13 to 18 years of clients? What is the kind of relationships that you build with them? And then the next kind of age group, that is 20 to or 18 to 25. So how are you going to deal with them separately? Or maybe geography wise. So you said, we'll have clients only in Madhya Pradesh to begin with, and you also started operating in Rajasthan. So what kind of relationship will you have with clients in Madhya Pradesh versus what kind of clients do you have a relationship with in Rajasthan? Because India is a diverse country, right? So nothing is same in India. In every there, according to statistics, every 10 kilometers you get to witness some kind of change in the geographical description of India as well. So that way, in business also, you need to plan. Okay, I will certainly have a wide range of customer segments, and how am I going to ensure that every customer segment of mine is going to be provided with the best kind of relationship that is possible, right? So you identify what is the kind of customer relationships you have. So as I mentioned, it could be a dedicated calling line, or it could be an email ID where they can email it to you, and you have a great response time. Like, for example, in case of my own startup Tunkuru, what we do, our USP for that matter for customer relationship is, whenever somebody asks us something or have a problem, we get back to them within 24 hours, right? So that is a promise from startup Tumakuru. So like that, you could actually have a USP for your customer relationship as well, so that you build a very good bond with your customers. So that is something that you need to think about while you're trying to plan your business model canvas. So the next thing, or the most important thing, I would say, is revenue streams. Okay, you're doing all of these things, but where is the cash flow going to come from? Basically, where is the money going to come from my company, right? So that is something really interesting. So if you guys are listening to this, and you are also thinking about this, maybe just to keep you guys active, right? So I don't want to just keep talking and make you guys the listeners. So maybe you can put a chat box a word called money. So ping money if you're thinking about, or if you're listening to the revenue streams that I'm going to talk about now, so that I know that you guys are active. Ping in the word money in the chat box, so that I understand that you're listening to me talking about revenue streams, right? Awesome. So I see a few first comers typing the word money in the chat box. Great. So the others who have still not done it, so you can go ahead and type the word money so that I can go ahead and talk about revenue streams, right? So what do you mean by revenue streams? How do you inculcate this in your business model? Why do you need to do all of this? So I will be talking about this in the next slide and for a few minutes. So you can just ping in the word money so that I know that you guys are active and you're there, right? Awesome. So what are the different kinds of revenue generating streams, right? So there are multiple methods. And as a business, it is very crucial to first decide that should you have multiple generating revenues, right? Like, do you want your business to have multiple places where you're getting revenue from? And statistically, it is very good to have that, right? Like, you should always have different sources of income coming into your business, because if you are depending on one major source, if that dries out, your business dies, right? So ensure that you have multiple methods to generate revenue. So what could be these methods? So going back to the AI image generating website that I was talking about, right? So what could be the kind of methods where we generate revenue for this, right? So the first thing would be a freemium model. That is, for example, you let the users create AI images for 10 images. So you give them the first 10 images for free, so that 10 images, they get used to your platform, they try the various tools that you've developed in your platform, and they're able to be very happy with your product that you have developed, right? So they're able to create images. So the first 10 images, you said, hey, great, enjoy, I'm going to give it to you for free, right? After that, after the 10th image, you're going to say from the 11th image onwards, if you want to use my platform, there is a small platform fee, right? So this is followed by most of the platforms today, like even ChatGPT does this. So after a certain number of searches, then you will have to pay for a premium, right? So that is called a freemium model. So why is it called freemium? Because they gave you first 10 AI images for free. 11th image onwards, they started asking you for payment. This payment again could be in multiple different methods. For example, they could say, hey, pay per image, right? So for every image, you pay a 10 rupees or 20 rupees, whatever that amount is, right? So you pay for every image after the 10th image. Or they could say, hey, you generate how much ever images you want, pay me a subscription fee on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis or a 6 month basis or a yearly basis, right? So that's a different method of subscription again. So there could be a one-time payment of per image costing or per image payment, and then there could be a subscription fee saying you pay me on a monthly, quarterly, half yearly, or yearly method. So all of this you need to figure out for your revenue streams, right? So that's the pricing strategy. And of course, even before you get into the revenue streams, right, it is also very important to understand what is called as unit economics, capex, opex for your businesses, which I think I'll deal a little later in the slide. uh, Unit economics is nothing but the basic numbers, right? Like, for example, let's say you're building a AI generating platform, so AI image generating platform. How much money are you going to spend on building this particular platform? And if 100 of such clients are using your platform, when will the money that you have spent on building this platform come back to you? So all of these things needs to be carefully considered while you're trying to figure out your revenue streams, right? And also, while figuring out your revenue streams, another most important thing is what is the mode of payment that you're going to do or you're going to accept into your business, right? Are you going to be digital first platform? Of course, India being one of the most advanced digital payment country today, so your platforms or if your businesses certainly needs to have a digital way of accepting in payments. So UPI is one of the best ways to do it. So use UPI, ensure that you're able to receive money through digital platforms, right? And the next one is you can of course receive payments through different payment methods like offline, dropping it off through a check at a bank. All those different modes of payment can be explored while you're trying to have your revenue streams done, right? So moving on, so now we understood, okay, where is the money going to come from, right? But to get this money, you need to be spending also, right? Like you will be spending on different things such as resources. Like you need to build a AI generative AI platform to help people generate AI images in the example that we're trying to consider, right? So in that case, what are the key resources that you need? So one of the biggest resources of all time is still human resource. to build an AI platform, you still need the help of humans, right? Like, of course, an AI platform can build another platform, but somebody needs to tell the AI what to do, right? Like, for example, your idea, because it's your business, you need to tell the AI what kind of AI generative platform you need so that it can build it, right? And then to maintain such a platform, also, we need people. So, human resource is one of the biggest resources when we're talking about resources. And the next kind of resource is, of course, money. So you need money or a capital that is required to get your business going. So if you want to build an AI genetic model, if you will need to spend a little bit of money, you need to spend on marketing, you need to spend on other operations like your rentals, your electricity bill, your Wi-Fi bill, one of the biggest. So all of these things you need to consider. What kind of resources do I need to run my business, right? So that is something that you will talk about. And after that, you also understand that for various functions and channels of my business, how much money do I need? So, what are the other resources that might be needed, right? So, all of that you're going to make a note of, and all of that is going to come into your key resources. So, when I show you examples of some of the companies which have done their key resources through business model canvas, you will understand this a little better. But whatever resource, may it be man, money, or different things like revenue resources. So you will put all of that under the key resource aspect of it. Right. So we now know what kind of resources we have. The next thing is, okay, I have the resources. I know where the money is going to come. But what are the key activities that I have to do, or I have to ensure that it is there in my business so that people can make use of it, right? So what kind of features, what kind of uh, activities should there be on my platform if you're building a digital platform so that people can actually be actively using my platform? So that is something that you have to think about and key it down as key activities in your business model canvas, right? So that is something again that we'll be discussing here. So going back to value proposition, so key activities and value proposition, they go hand in hand, right? So it's an intersection or a juncture that we come into. Depending on the what kind of value proposition you have, we have key activities. So what I mean here, again, going back to the example, so you want to, your value proposition is delivering the best AI images, right? So in such a case, your key activity, what will be your key activity? So those of you who can guess what will be the key activity for your value proposition of generating AI images, please feel free to chat, put it up in the chat box. We'll have a look at it and maybe we'll see how we can reward you on that, right? So what for the value proposition of AI images, what kind of key activities should you be doing, right? So the first thing as a key activity is you need to be able to text in your inputs. Like for example, I want an AI image of a, let's say, person teaching 100 students in a classroom. So that is the AI image that I want. So I have thought about it in my mind. Now I have to ensure that I feed it to the laptop or a computer so that it can generate an image. So the activity that happens here is key input. That is, I need to be able to type this in my platform that I'm building, right? So typing is the activity that needs to be enabled. So text entry is the activity that needs to be enabled over there. Next, so okay, text entry was done. What next? So the text, again, through the codes that we develop, through the algorithms that we convert, so this text needs to be converted into an image, right? So that it is AI generated, right? So that is where we ensure that that algorithm or the code that we have developed also gets activated there. So that's another key activity of the platform. So you have the feature of getting the text input there. Then at the back end, we would have put the code or the algorithm which converts the text into an image, right? So that is the kind of activity your AI image generating platform will have, right? And again, every time, whenever we're thinking about key activities, again, think about how is it unique from others? What is the unique selling proposition? This is one of the most important things, right? Because there are already hundreds or thousands of AI generating images or platforms that provide AI generating AI generated images, right? So how is your platform going to stand out? Like one instance where your platform could stand out is you have trained your AI so well that within 1 minute I can get the input, right? Like for example, if I put the text, my platform's USP is within 1 minute you will get an AI image, right? The best quality image within 1 minute. right? That's going to be a USP for your company, because there are thousands of companies or platforms that are available. But how is yours different? You will work towards a platform where within a minute, an image could be generated, right? And based on your revenue streams, distribution channels, and customer relationships, how is it different from your competitors? So, like for example, let's say, as I said, right, pricing was one of the key things, or the time taken to generate the AI image was another key differentiator. There could be other things also that you can think about and put it in as your key activities. Like for example, voice command, right? So you don't have to only text in my platform, but you can also just speak to my platform and that gets converted into an image. How cool will that be, right? So you just talk to the laptop and say, hey, look, hey Siri, hey Google, whatever, can you create an image, AI image for certain thing for me, right? So that could also be done. So that's an uniqueness that you bring in. So this is one of the unique feature that is already there, right? So you also need to think about such things. And do you need to procure specific niche resources? Like for example, if you say, hey, I have to build an AI platform which generates images, that means you need to be either yourself an AI developer, you need to be a good coder, or you need to know somebody who can code for you, right? So this is a specific niche resource or a specialized skill set that you need to develop. And I'm very happy that you're all part of this thing, because in today's segment of ATLs, that is what we are trying to teach all of you, right? So we are trying to make all of you somebody as a resource at certain specific niches. So all of you will be becoming specialists in a certain topic as we move forward in the Tinkerpreneur journey, right? So you will tinker with around various skill sets that are required, and you become specialists yourself. And also, since you're a part of this community of ATL, all of you will be able to interact with different people and collaborate together to build different skill set. Like for example, somebody is good in coding, somebody is good in presentation, you both come together and build a business, right? Because marketing is also required for your business. Equally important is the product that is being developed. So you understand what are the kind of key resources that might be required depending on the key activities, and you get that done and you note it down in your business model canvas. So I was talking about the key resources, right? So that actually leads us to why partner would be required, right? So that is something that you need to figure out, because in today's age and world, again, this is 2025, right? So in 2025, it is impossible to run, or I would say it is very difficult to run a business as an individual. You can't do everything yourself. For example, just a second. So let's say, for example, you're running a business and you have two meetings that you need to take. Both the meetings are equally important, right? One meeting is with a potential client and one meeting is with a potential investors, who are both equally important in a business. But then you can't be at both the places together, right? Like you can't be pitching to your investor and the client together for sure, nor can you be at both the positions at the same time. So that is where partners, co-founders, vendors will come into picture. And also, depending on the kind of business you do, there will be different people or partners involved. These partners come in different names, right? Like somebody comes in as a co-founder who is an equivalent for you for doing business. Some come in the name of suppliers or vendors or distribution partners, ecosystem partners, knowledge partners. So there'll be different people who come in to support you as different partners, and you need to know what exactly will that particular partner contribute to your particular business. So that is also something that we need to take care, right? So while you're trying to identify your key partners or partner up with different people, few things you need to keep in mind is, okay, what is the partner going to help me out with which I cannot do on my own? Of course there'll be a lot of things, but you need to know what is it that the partner will offer. And of course it is always going to be a barter system, right? If somebody is giving you something, you should always be able to be in a place where you can also reciprocate it, right? Say for example, again, AI generative images, right? So if you are a company which is generating AI images or helps people generate AI images, you might want to partner up with, let's say, for example, a school, right? You want to generate a partner up with a school because all the school children do a lot of projects. So they can actually use these AI generated images in this particular project. right? So what is the partner exchange that happened here? You, for a platform, you got more users because every school will have at least around 800 plus students in their schools who could potentially use your platform. And the school got a tool which the students can use at a much easier pace, right? So those kind of resources you need to think about. And of course, identify as many as different niche partners as possible, right? Like for example, on the academia, you identified a school, and then maybe you want to then partner up with an industry because industry brings expertise with them, right? Or they bring corporate relationships with them. And then the government will bring different things from them. So you partner up with the government, your marketing is taken care of because they will promote you in different places as well as then they go on, right? So you need to understand what key activities will be performed from these partners and how is it beneficial for me as a business, right? And of course, you cannot work with everybody. So there are certain people you can work with and certain people you wish to work with, and then there are certain people you cannot work with, right? So that is again a business decision that you need to take. Why am I working with a partner? What is the motivation that I have to work with a certain partner? So that is again something that you need to consider, and based on that you can understand who you want to work with, or most importantly, you also need to be able to say no to a lot of people while you're trying to do a business, right? Maybe a partner approaches you. So when you're a successful business, a lot of people try to approach you. So you should be in a position to say no also. Like, no, I don't want to work with a certain people or certain partner, right? So that is again something that you have to think about it while you're trying to create your business model canvas. And then again, another very important aspect and the last ninth aspect of a business model canvas is your cost structure. So while you're trying to run a business, the most important thing is the money. How much money is going out? How much money is coming in? How much of money have I saved in my bank? All of these things needs to be thought about when you're trying to run a company. And this is the most important thing that you need to have in your business model canvas as well, along with the other things. And while we are talking about cost structures, I think two important things you need to understand is there are two things to a business, especially on the expense part of it, right? Like we spoke about where the money is going to come. Now we're going to talk about where the money is going to go. So money usually goes out in two places, majorly. If I can classify it into two different segments, right? One is the capex. Capex stands for capital expenditure, which is a long-term investment, right? Like for example, you invest in building a building. So building is usually a lifetime thing, or at least comes with a 30-year guarantee. And then there are equipments that you would build. Like for example, while you're trying to build your AI platform, right? Like for creating images, you need certain infrastructure. Like for example, you need a set office to sit in. So the office building is an infrastructure. The office laptop is again an equipment, and the building, the land on which the building is built, that is again a capex. So you need to figure out what is the long-term investment that you do for your business and how much is it going to be, and how can you ensure that this is optimal, that you're not spending too much or you're not spending too less as well. And then there is opex, which is an ongoing cost, or we call this the operational cost or the cost of running a business, right? There will be salaries that you pay your employees. There might be, if you don't own the infrastructure or the land, then you might be paying rentals that you need to pay. So there are rentals that you will pay. So you need to figure this out as a part of your cost structure. Then of course people need to know about you, right? So as I previously said, so there is marketing expense that is there on a regular basis. So you need to think about all of this and put it in your business model canvas. So this is something that you will cover in your cost structures. Again, so all of this is interlinked. All the nine aspects of a business model or canvas are interlinked to one another, right? So I'll go a little further. So the canvas, which we will show you now, is a visual chart, making it super easy to help you understand and communicate to the various components of your business on a single page. So by just looking at this one page, people will be able to understand how good your business is or how good you are at your business, right? That is why business model canvas is one of the most important aspects of your business, right? So let's look at some models. I previously showed you the basic empty business model canvas, right? So here I have Uber's business model canvas. Since we just have 10 minutes, I'll quickly run you through it. If you have any questions, you can ask me later, right? In case of Uber, so didn't we have taxis before Uber entered India or Ola started in India? We certainly did have taxis. Like if you are from Kolkata or if you have ever been to Kolkata, you will see this yellow ambassadors that are there, right? So these have been there from our forefathers' time, right? So taxis were always there. But then what did Ola or Uber do? They made it convenient for us, right? Like within click of a button, I can order a taxi now if I'm in a metro city, right? So that was the customer segment, or that was the value proposition that Uber brought in. So who are the customers? So what was the customer segment for Uber? So there were two customer segments. So one was people who were in need of transportation, that is people who wanted to travel from point A to point B, and then the car owners who would rent it out or who would become the drivers initially. So those were the two customer segments from where Uber made their money. What was the value proposition for Uber? Reliable transport, convenience, and additional income, right? So it was reliable transport. That is, if you book a cab, you will now come to know if you're going to get the cab or not, because Uber says your cab is booked or not getting booked, right? And of course, it is convenient because it's just right there on your hand. It's there on your smartphone, right? So it is super convenient. Within 5 to 10 minutes, you end up getting a Uber or a Ola. And for the drivers, how is it? What is the value proposition? They are able to make additional income using this particular app, right? So after value proposition, the customer relationship. So how was Uber maintaining the customer relationship? After every ride, they're asking you to rate the ride, right? Like how did you like it? What did you like in it? So rating and data analytics. So they do a lot of these data analytics so that you can understand how the customers are there, right? And moving on, so how are people coming to know about Uber, right? So one of the things Uber has done is Uber has built both application that you can download either on your Android or iPhone and on your laptops as well. So you can use it actually on your laptops also. So those are the different channels, and people come to know about Uber from different social media channels as well, right? So after that, what are the key activities that Uber does? So platform development. So a lot of engineers are there, and then there is support, constant support being provided, right? So you can call the customer care anytime, you can email the customer care anytime. So all of those are the key activities of Uber. And at the back end of it, there are a lot of software engineers who keep developing the platform for its UI, UX, agility, and more, right? So what are the resources that Uber is using? So it is using a tech platform combined with a set of drivers and brand value creation. So these are the kind of resources that it's using. And is Uber operating as an individual entity? Of course not. They are also using a lot of payment processors, right? Like for example, you can pay through UPI on Uber, you can pay through different platforms, different debit cards, different banks. So these are all the partners for Uber. And of course, there are a lot of APIs that are getting pulled to while they're trying to write or develop that platform. So that is again the key partners that Uber has. Similarly, revenue stream. So how is Uber making money? Simple revenue stream, one of the major revenue streams for Uber. They take a certain percentage of the money that is charged on every ride. So percent per ride is what is the revenue stream for Uber. And where is Uber spending all the money? For generating their business. So one is the tech platform, both the application and on the laptop, and marketing, and then on the resources, human resource. So these are the cost structures. So you can do it either as this. So this is a pictorial representation of the business model canvas, or there is another method where this is Netflix business model canvas. Due to the shortage of time, I will not run through the whole thing. But what you can do, or the key difference is, your business model canvas could actually be a pictorial representation like this, where you are able to explain it, or it could be a written or a textual business model canvas like this also, right? So these are two different models explained. Netflix is a completely different model because that's a completely digital platform, whereas Uber is a combination of uh, both physical and digital infrastructure, right? So I think with that, I would like to now open up for any kind of questions and answers. Um, Maybe Shubham could also come in and help me out with any questions that are there.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Sure, Surat, thank you so much. It was a wonderful session. The energy you brought in, like, really pumped up the audiences. Thank you for having this wonderful session. We have two to three, I would say, beautifully crafted questions. So I'll take it up one by one. You can unshare the screen. Uh,
Right.
yeah. So just give me a second. I have made the notes. I'm just opening it up.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what are the top three mistakes students like us can make while building their first business model?
Right. So I think one of the major mistakes that students would make is think short term, right? Like most of you end up thinking, okay, how can I make money in a week's time or a month's time, right? So short time planning. So that is something most students tend to do, and that is a key for failure, I would say. So that is the first mistake, short time planning. And the second thing I would say is over enthusiasm. Like for example, you feel, hey, I can do most of the things because you guys have that energy in you, right? Like you can actually do a lot of things yourself. Like you can code, you can speak, you can do a lot of things. But remember, business is something that you need more people to be with. Like you need a lot of people to do with. So the second thing is over enthusiasm. So don't think that you can do everything. You will certainly need people along with you to succeed in business. And the third mistake, I would say, which is solved, I believe, but still students think about is you need money to start with. Whereas today, I'm sure with the support of the startup ecosystem in India, if you have a good idea, you no longer need money to start. So there are so many grant challenges open, there are so many competitions open. You just present your idea and how you want to do it, you will get the money to do business. So the third mistake, I think, while you're trying to do a business model is thinking that you need money to start. No, you don't need money to start. You just have to have a good idea to start. So I think these are the three key factors or the mistakes that students make.
Sure. Um, Thank you, Shurut. The second question is, out of the blocks you have shown for BMC, which block do you think students often overlook, and how can they improve their understanding of it?
Right. So I think
Mm,
again, so for me, one of the crucial thing is the revenue structure and the cost structure because I'm somebody who concentrates on the number part of the business, right? So you always need to know, okay, where is the money coming from and where is it going? So these two things, most of them think that either it is too complicated or my CA will handle it, right? So not only students, a lot of businesses also try and make this error, but I think those are the two crucial things which people miss out, but you should never miss. Where is the money coming from? Where is the money going? So revenue structures and cost structures are the two crucial aspects, I would say, out of the nine blocks.
yeah. Uh, Third question, Shurut.
Mhm.
What are some practical methods to test whether the value proposition resonates with my target users?
Absolutely. So this is actually something very interesting, right? Because we work with a lot of students who try to build a business. The best place to build a business is while you're a student. Why do I say this? Because if you have to test waters, right? Like that is, you need to test that, hey, the idea or problems that I'm working on, is it something good, right? You need a lot of reviews coming from people, right? And how do you get these reviews? As a student, it is super easy because see, as a student, when you have a doubt, you just put it out in your class WhatsApp group or in, say, in the morning meditation in a school's time. You just go to the speaker slot and say, hey, this is what I'm trying to build, can you give me reviews? Your friends, at least there'll be at least 60 students in every class, and they will be able to give you reviews very easily. Whereas once you're out of the education system, you're on your own, right? So there it is very difficult to get those reviews. So you need to be in the education system so that you're able to get these reviews, and forms are the best way to do it, right? Either a survey monkey or Google form, whatever. Ensure that you have the first hand experience of asking question and getting the answers.
Uh, Last question, Suraj. Um, Means you are from a startup Tumkuru. So the
Right.
question is, do you have any real life example where a BMC helped pivot or refine a startup idea?
Oh, absolutely, right. So there are so many businesses which pivot, right? Like especially when what we saw in COVID, right? Like let me give you a real life example. There was this company called Bounce, right? So in Bangalore, people who are from Karnataka might have seen this scooter called Bounce, right? So Bounce was a two-wheeler platform, like a ride here. It's a you could just book the two-wheeler and use it. You could travel from one point to another. It was a rental kind of thing. So you could rent this scooter anywhere in Bangalore, leave it at any point of Bangalore, and be done. But during COVID, nobody used this service because it was a shared service. You would not want to use a same scooter which somebody else used, because you never know what kind of virus that particular person might have carried, right? So their business just failed. So what did Bounce do to overcome this? They completely pivoted the model. They said, we will now get into manufacturing of electric scooters because they already have the database of people who are using two wheelers. They said, let's make our own two wheelers. And from just being a ride hailing platform to Bounce Infinity. So today the company is known as Bounce Infinity, where there are two wheeler scooters, right? So from a ride sharing platform, they become the manufacturers of two wheelers. So that's a pivot that has happened. And like this, there are a lot of pivots that happen. But always remember, when you're trying to do business, it's actually not the business, but the entrepreneur that matters.
Yeah.
So you might do 10 businesses, but still it is you who matters.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Surut.
Right.
That's all the questions we have for today.
Right.
Yeah, we have also asked them means via the portal and emails. If you have any more questions for they can write to us and we can pass on to you if we need further clarity or further real life example from your side. So yeah, uh,
Right.
thank you all, dear friends, mentors, students, teachers who have joined today's session. Many of you are pointing out that the quiz is missing for the last session. So the last session was a master class, the product master class. It need not to have a quiz. Similarly, on the 15th of July, we will having a entrepreneurship master class that will also don't have a quiz. So the master classes, the two of the master classes will not have any quiz. All the rest 10 sessions will have a quiz. And just to reiterate, you have to attempt at least 8 out of 10 quizzes to be eligible for a participation certificate. And yeah, stay tuned for us for further more exciting sessions coming up. Next session is scheduled on Monday. There we will discuss about branding and marketing, how you can market your product, how you can brand your product, what are different tools you can use for promotion of your product as well. So thank you once again for everybody to join in. Thank you, Surat, again, one last time to
Pleasure.
join in. This is where we end today's live session. Thank you. Bye-bye.